Hi, EDU 250 students. This is Dr. Legler. I wanted to give you a uh, more detailed explanation of the instructional plan that's due on April 19th, and added several resources to help you with your lesson plan because I realized that some of you are not taking EDU 275 this semester. So I have some instructions and a rubric that look like this. So make sure that you read the entire thing. And then the main thing that you can look at is this example. So the example, when you click on it, looks like this. We use this differentiated lesson plan template, and I realize that some of you may not know how to write learning objectives or know what big ideas or essential questions are. So I included some resources here. You'll see the first thing that you really need to do is figure out what you want your lesson to be on. So think about your endorsement area. Let's say your elementary social study. You want to do an elementary social studies lesson on the American Revolution. So you'll go to this NDE content area standards and find the social studies, and then look for the grade level and try to find a standard or standards that relate to the topic that you chose, like the American Revolution. Once you've determined what your standard or standards are, you shouldn't probably only have one or two standards. And then in most lesson plans, you don't want to really have more than three. Anywhere from like 3 to 5 or 1 to 5 learning objectives. Your learning objectives are connected to your standards. So you write the learning objectives yourself, and you kind of reword the standard in a form that's a learning objective. Usually you start that with students will be able to, and then you usually pick a Bloom's taxonomy action verb like compare, contrast, or create, or analyze. And so if you click on this ASU Learning Objective Builder, it'll help you pick out some of those action verbs and word your learning objectives correctly. So give that a shot. Also on that lesson plan, you'll notice that there are big ideas and essential questions. Remember that big ideas are kind of an overarching idea that encompasses the whole lesson. It's kind of a statement. And so this link will give you some background on big ideas. Essential questions relate to those big ideas. So you don't want a lot of essential questions, maybe one or two, and it would be a question that kind of frames the whole lesson. Okay, so that'll get you started a little bit with, that'll help you kind of get through this page. When you see assessments here, it means that you're either going to choose a formative assessment or a summative assessment. You're not going to do a summative assessment because those are usually end of chapter or end of unit tests or exams. They usually have multiple questions. They're more punitive in nature. You want to list some sort of formative assessment. Formative assessments can be as easy as this: heads down, thumbs up, or down activity. So if they understand the content, they give you a heads down, thumbs up. If they don't understand the activity or what they're supposed to learn, they put their head down and put a thumbs down. A lot of teachers will do exit slips that are anywhere from 1 to 5 questions at the end of the lesson to see if the students have learned the material during the lesson. So they're usually non-punitive. They're usually 3 to 5 questions. There's a lot of examples. If you Google formative assessments, examples or list of formative assessments on Google, you'll probably find a lot of examples. But they're basically used for the teacher to adjust instruction for the next day. So if students didn't perform very well on the exit slip, let's say every student missed questions 2 and 3, well, then the teacher knows the next day that they need to go back and reteach the material that was on questions 2 and 3. Misconceptions are things that students may think is one way, but it's really another. So it's kind of like assumptions. They assume that plants are not alive, or leaves take in water, or plants get their energy from the soil through roots. Well, we know that plants get their energy from the sun and water and also carbon dioxide. So the rest of the lesson plan, you'll see on the left side column, accessing prior knowledge, new information content, applied knowledge process, goal summary, product. This all stems from, if you look here, you'll see the lesson planning process. If you go to that lesson planning process, you'll see, let me make this a little smaller. You'll see that, like the first section, we want a goal, all right? Something that's specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Those are the learning objectives and the standards. Also deals with the content, misconceptions, big ideas, essential questions. And then we get to accessing prior knowledge. So if you go down here, this was the first section, goal. This is the second section, accessing prior knowledge. And it gives you a lot of different options for what you could include in that category of the lesson plan. And then the third step is new information, content. And if I go down here, here it is. And it gives you some options for what you could do in that category for your learning, for your lesson plan. So it continues on all the way through goal summary and product.